Next, let's see that how can we use flex property in style sheet. So when I set flex as 1 in base text, we can see that all the three text elements have consumed all the space available by distributing it amongst themselves. And in selected text, that is the orange box, when I set flex as 2, we can see that now its width is double to that of the other two boxes. So we can use flex to set proportions, and using those proportions, the elements will expand themselves to fill and take up the space. However, if I set flex as 1 in just one element, then we can see that it takes up all the space available to it, and all other elements would get only that much space that is minimum required for them. Okay, just like we used justify content to manage layout along the primary axis or row, we can use align items. Okay, align items is used to align the elements along the secondary axis. Secondary axis is an axis that is perpendicular to the primary axis. That is, if primary axis is horizontal, secondary axis would be vertical. Meaning, if primary axis is row, secondary axis would be column, or if primary axis is column, then secondary axis would be row. Now currently our flex direction is set to be row, hence the primary axis would be horizontal and secondary axis would be along the column. So we can use align items to align along the column, and if I write the value to be stretch, we can see that all the three elements are now stretched vertically. And if I write flex start as its value, we can see that they reach the vertical top of the screen, and by flex end they reach the bottom of the screen, and by writing center they reach the center vertically. And now let's try to bring all our three text elements to 4 different corners of the screen. And for top left, we have to keep them at the start both vertically and horizontally. So justify content and align items both are now start. And for bottom left, horizontally they have to be at start and vertically at the end. So align items would become flex end. And for bottom right, they have to be at the end both vertically and horizontally. So both become flex end. And for top right, justify content has to be flex end and align items at flex start, so that they are at the end horizontally and at the start vertically. And let's now reset them to center. Okay, finally, if we want to change the styling or aligning of a particular child than the rest of the children, then for that specific child we have to use align items in its styling, and this align self would override the already existing value of align items. So now when I write flex start for selected text, we can see that the other two children have a value of align items, and the selected text, that is the orange box, is now at the top of the screen because it has now a value of flex start along the secondary axis. And if I use flex end, it reaches the bottom of the screen, and by writing it as center, it reaches its original position center back again, and by stretch, it is stretched vertically. And in align items in container, if I write stretch, then all the three elements would stretch vertically. Now currently our boxes are only using the minimum width required to contain the coding text within them. But if I set flex as 1 in base text, we can see that now the boxes are occupying all the space available to them horizontally or along the row. And this is because our flex direction has been set to row, and hence our boxes have expanded along the row. Now since the size of our boxes have increased, we can align the text within the box by using text align and whose value I've set to center, and we can see that now all the three texts in all the three boxes have now reached the center.